This is a video I feel may have fitted a little better 2 days ago, but as is tradition around the time of expansion announcement, there are leaks. Whenever are there not leaks actually? If you go looking online, you will find several walls of text dumped in a paste bin or by a fresh account on MMO Champion, detailing all the new toys we get for the expansion with the same old story, gruntled ex-Blizzard employee anonymously throwing out the news early to undermine the announcement. I'm pretty sure it's all part of the hype train that drives the new expansion. Give people something to get excited about and then actually confirm it to be true. Well, that's the hard bit, isn't it? What's true and what is a complete fantasy, because often it's a bit of both. So obligatory grain of salt must be taken here. It's all up in the air until Blizzard do their full announcement, which has already been confirmed to happen on April 19th. Nevertheless, it is fun to speculate, and earlier today we had a few very telling bits of information drop, which point us in a direction that many expected the expansion to go. Dragons, or more specifically, World of Warcraft. Dragonflight. Images showing expansion cover, logo and art are circulating online, showing Alexstrasza in her human form with another dragon in the background. This alone looks very convincing to borderline there's no way this is fake, right? There is also an image of certificates Blizzard has registered under the name Dragonflight to go along with this, seemingly confirming that it will indeed be the next step for World of Warcraft. People have been speculating something dragon related for a very long time now. It's always been a thing, it's always been known about, but it's never really happened properly in the game. Okay, I suppose there was the Emerald Nightmare, but a larger feature than that, as a zone or something like that. In fact, the Dragon Isles were at one point supposed to be a raid within the game, and the concept art for the zone even features on the credits of the vanilla game. Moreover, the idea of there being a Dragon Isles in WoW was first mentioned during BFA in a quest where you're handing in an item to a Black Talent agent who worked for Rathian, where it says, "Hello, I was told to expect you. Kindly hand over the scale. We will of course compensate you. First in information. Have you heard of the Dragon Isles? Few have and fewer have been there. We have not found others of the Master's kin forthcoming in information. Should you uncover anything further in your travels, we will be awaiting a visit with payment in kind." This gives us a pretty good idea that Rathian is searching for the Isles and whatever lies there, but the other aspects don't want it to be found. And you know what they say, Blizzard work on expansions too in advance, and Dragonflight would fit in that timeline. Now the aspects themselves have just been kind of AFK since the end of Cataclysm. Here's a quote from the cinematic after defeating the madness of Deathwing as narrated by Alexstrasza. "The champions who fought at our side ensured the survival of our world, but now we must see it with mortal eyes. We dragon aspects have fulfilled our great purpose and our ancient power is expended, for the dawning of the age of mortals has begun." So the dragon aspects are still present in the world and are very powerful beings in their own right, but they're just not immortal anymore. And I suppose if we were to look at areas of lore that haven't been done in the past few expansions, well, the dragon aspects are a standout in that regard. So that's the sensible and somewhat realistic part of the video done. Now it's time for the speculation part. So back at the start of February, one of many leaks posted by a fresh account was made on MMO Champion, titled World of Warcraft Dragonflight. Now it very well may just be a case of randomly throwing darts at names and landing on a correct one, but hey, let's go over it seeing as the post and the names seem to match, and take a look at what we have here. Who knows, it could all be right or wrong. Either way, the main enemy is Chromatus. Now like me, you may say, who? Well, essentially, a Hydra-looking dragon that Nefarian made to have the power of all 5 aspects. The dragon aspects learned of its existence and went and defeated it, but couldn't destroy the body and locked it in an arcane prison in Northrend. If the cinematic we're shown in April starts in Northrend, which it could as a follow-on from us just closing the Shadowlands rift above Icecrown Citadel, this could have something to it. This also could just be the first bad guy we need to beat, and then other threats become apparent later. This has happened in quite a few WoW expansions. In BFA, I don't think anyone was expecting Ashara, for example. 4 new micro classes that are 1 spec each. Interesting. So the last new class we had was the Demon Hunter in Legion, and they of course have 2 specs, Vengeance for tank, Havoc for DPS. Blizzard certainly seem to be done with making new classes that have 3 specs, that's for sure. But making 4 entire new animation sets that have to fit on all the armor rigs and everything else sounds like a lot of work. Druids have 4 specs, why not extend that feature to other classes? Some examples given were Dragon Knight, a new warrior spec potentially, tanking only, uses 2-handed weapons, fire and plate. I can't hear Dragon Knight at the moment without thinking of how they're portrayed in Elden Ring, which would be a very cool crossover. Tinker class for the Hunter perhaps, only dealing damage damage, uses guns, mail armor, gadgets, and mech suits. And for the first time ever, yes, ever, this will be a new DPS spec that is ranged, and I'm totally down for trying Tinker, have been for a while. The leak has to be right eventually, surely. Minstrel class, healer, uses leather, lutes, violins, and pan flutes. This one's a bit up in the air. It's not going to be druid. Who do you see more likely to whip out the flute in combat, a rogue or a monk? I feel it could be either. Chronomancer, a healer, uses cloth, time magic, and sand magic. Again, priests already have 2 healing specs, so it seems to make more sense as a variation of mage. Also, mages in World of Warcraft have historically possessed some time-related spells like Alter Time or Temporal Shield to name 2. Other classes which are not getting a full new specialization are getting a visual overhaul option. Dark Ranger skin for hunters, dark spell effects, tames undead instead of animals. Necromancer skin for warlocks, plagues instead of curses, summons undead instead of demons. Nightmare skin for druids, corrupted spell effects and animal forms. Dragon Swarm skin for shamans, draconic spell effects and forms. Warden for demon hunters uses arcane and holy instead of fel. Nothing mentioned for a few classes though, such as monk, rogue, death knight, pally or priest. I'll be honest, a new class is just a surefire win. If even half of this were true, I think it will sell people on wanting to see how the new effects look and feel regardless of other expansion features. Moving on, player housing. We're doing this again. I'm gonna be honest, I've never been interested in player housing in pretty much any game ever. I'd do it for the benefits, but I'm not a person who's going to spend 100 hours on making my house look like some real-life landmark or something. I played WildStar when that was a thing. I had some random shack with a patch or 2 of cabbages, and the housing was unreal good in that game. If they do it again though, surely it's got to be better than garrisons. New professions, logging and carpentry. Seems sensible. We have pick flowers and hit rocks, so let's add chop trees to the list. Get that 99 wood cutting in another game. Dalaran again for the 3rd time. First it was Wrath the Lich King, then it was Legion, now again. Look, if we're starting off in Northrend around Dragonflight fighting Chromatus, it does fit in the timeline. I can't see it being the hub for the whole game though. Not again, right? No level cap increase? But where are Blizzard gonna sell level boosts then? Are we getting 2 times as many store mounts this expansion? Leveling has felt like something which has become more and more of a sideshow for a while now in World of Warcraft. Is a core part of character progression going away to favour more time being put into endgame? I mean, if you think about it, playing an MMO through, where are you spending the majority of your time proportionally? Leveling is a matter of hours. Endgame can be literally weeks or months worth of time. I just find it hard to believe it's going all the same. Reworks to existing zones. Lordaeron becoming Tirisfal and Plaguelands, Scarlet and Light focused, Quel'Thalas revamped for Eversong and Ghostlands, Silvermoon is a hostile city like Suramar, and so on and so forth. It's reading a bit like Cata 2.0 with the dragons, the zone revamps and everything else. And back then, a lot of criticism has been put on Cata for reworking the old zones, and that the new ones they made are just worse versions. At this point, I think it's a vocal minority thing. I've played Classic the whole way through, and in the seasonal service Blizzard have done, they had to implement measures to stop players getting boosted through dungeons by others. After a few times through leveling, people don't want to do it anymore. They pay others in-game or just buy a character boost. This wouldn't be the case if the old zones were really that great. There's a continuation of Order Hall stories, and you can pick them like Covenants with no gameplay differences, just cosmetics. Order halls were great, they're already built in and around Dalaran. If there was a copy, paste and get a W bit of content Blizzard could pick, it's order halls. Blizzard have already brought back Mage Tower from Legion, another feature from a solid expansion making its return would very much be welcome. The announcement dates given are off, but they can change quite easily, unlike the content that's going into the expansion. Nothing on systems though, or the huge sword that's in Silithus which has been there for years now. This time around they have to dial back on systems. Put class power back into your spellbook, back into talents, and then possibly tier sets and legendaries at some point. I feel like this is a point they must communicate that they have learned from as early as they possibly can. No single sentence or feature will drive more player hype for the expansion than Blizzard saying the words "no new temporary power system" in Dragonflight. Finally, a goal to release Q1 of 2023. Over in Classic we got Zul'Aman not so long ago, which is Phase 4, and we only have one patch left to go through on TBC, the Sunwell. Wrath of the Lich King Classic could drop end of this year, and then early 2023 we get another dose of Northrend nostalgia straight in the feels, with revisiting Dalaran and Dragonblight and all the other associated zones. A likely timeline or a work of fiction? Let me know your thoughts on everything. Also Blizzard, give tinker. But that's going to be all from me today. As always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all in the next one very soon.